Hello, today I'm gonna show you how to make a cubic right angle weave rope like this one. You can use it as a necklace or you can even wrap it around your wrist. So for this tutorial we are gonna need 11 seed beads. I don't know exactly how much, 30 grams possibly. I'm sorry, I don't know how to measure it. And then you're gonna need 22 6mm beads. It can also be 8mm or 10mm, but I'm gonna use 6mm. And you'll also need a stop bead. So pick up your needle and thread. I am using about 2 meter long thread, but I think you're gonna have to change it anyway because I think you're gonna need more. So first we pick up our stop bead and slide it almost down to the bottom of the thread. Just leave a little bit of a tail so So a unit of right angle weave pretty much looks like this, and when we're talking about cubic right angle weave we're doing a square. I've tried to illustrate it a little bit but I don't think it's clear enough, so I'm just gonna show you my stitching. So first you pick up 4 11 seed beads, slide them down to the stop bead, and now you're gonna go through all the 4 beads from the opposite direction of where your thread is coming out. And then you're gonna go through one more bead, and then I'm gonna go through 2 more beads. So this is how one unit looks like of right angle weave, but now we're gonna do a unit of cubic right angle weave. So now we're gonna pick up 3 of the 11 seed beads, and then we're gonna go through the opposite direction of where our thread is coming out through that same bead. And then you're gonna stack it a bit like that, and now you're gonna go up through that bead, the first bead that you just strung on, or what we just did. So now it looks like this. So I'm just gonna fold it. I'm gonna pick up 2 11 seed beads because one unit is built up by 4 seed beads. So now I'm gonna go through the top 2 beads. And now we come out and go up through the next bead here. Now we're gonna pick up 2 more seed beads, and we're gonna go through 1 and then next one. And now we're gonna work our way up to the top. So we're gonna go through that seed bead and that seed bead. And now we have 3 beads. So now we only need to pick up 1 seed bead. And then we go through first those 2 from that unit, pull, and now we're gonna go through 1 more seed bead, and also that one that we just stitched on. And all we need to do now is that we join the 4 seed beads at the top. There are already 4, so you don't have to add any more seed beads, just to line it up. Go through 1 more. So now we're pretty much gonna do the same, but since we don't start with 4 anymore, since this unit here is already the beginning of the next one, you're gonna pick up 3 seed beads and go through again the opposite direction of where that thread is coming out. It's about stacking bead on top of each other, basically. Thread made a mean mess. And then you're gonna go up through 1 bead again in that unit. And again, this is where our unit is gonna be constructed. So there's 2 seed beads already. So we pick up 2. Go through there, and also that other bead that we just went out of, just in the opposite direction of where your thread is coming out. And now you work your thread down to where we're going to build our next unit. So we go through 3 beads on this one. Depending on if you're left or right-handed, this step is going to look different for you as you're walking in a different direction of it. So we have our 2 seed beads already in the unit. So we pick up 2 more and do the same. We go through the opposite direction of where our thread is coming out, and we go through those 2 beads. And now we go through 1 bead in that unit just up to the top. And now there's 3, 1, 2, 3 beads already in the unit, so we pick up 1 seed bead. And we go up again until we reached that 1 seed bead that we just added. And now we also join this unit together, the top one, where you don't have to add any beads. So now you have created 2 units of cubic right angle weave. You only count them like this: 1, 2. That's a unit of cubic right angle weave. So you're gonna work 10 of these, 8 more in total, and then we'll be back. Okay, so now you have done, should have done 10 rows of cubic right angle weave. People also like to turn it CRAW. So what we're gonna do next is we're gonna add a bead, a bigger bead. I'm using 6 millimeters. So we first slide it down to the unit like that. Now we're gonna pick up 1 bead, 1 seed bead. Now we're gonna go back through the big bead, and then we're also gonna go through that bead that we just came out of, but from the opposite direction of where our thread is coming out. Like so. So what we're gonna do next is we're gonna go through the next bead in the last cubic right angle weave unit, and now we're gonna do pretty much the same. We're gonna go up through that big bead again. Don't go through the seed bead that we just added. And now pick up 1 more seed bead and go through that big bead again. And now we're also gonna go through that seed bead again from the opposite direction where our thread is coming out. The beads should stack up like this. Doesn't matter so far how it looks, but now we're gonna go through the next seed bead again in that cubic right angle weave unit at the top, and we're gonna go through that big bead once more, and don't go through any of those seed beads that we just added yet. Now pick up 1 more seed bead. Again, we go through that big bead, and we also go through that seed bead that just went out of to go through that big bead, but we put our needle through where on the opposite side of where our thread is coming out. Again, we go through the the next seed bead in the CRAW unit and go again through that big bead that we just added. Skip the seed beads, pick up one seed bead again and go down. And through the big bead and that seed bead that just came out of, but from the opposite side of where our thread is coming out of. What we do next is that we just go straight back up through that big bead again. Now we're gonna go through all of these 4 beads to make a cubic right angle weave unit. Just like that. And now we're gonna do this again. The same process on this part, 10 cubic right angle weave units, and then we add a seed bead like this again, and you keep repeating this step all the way until you used all 22 big beads, and then we're gonna join it. And before we join it, so it's a 1-hole rope, I'll be back and show you how to finish that as well. Okay, so I've worked a little bit on it. It's not completely done, but I'm gonna show you how to tie off the thread for those who have problem figuring that out. So my thread is here. What I'm simply just gonna do now is that I'm going to go through a couple of beads. What I do normally here on the sides to be sure that my thread is sitting tight is that I'm going through 1 whole unit of right angle weave. So not the whole CRAW unit, just those 4 beads that make up a corner. Just a couple of times like this. This is how you work it in. And when we'll be back, I'll also show you how to add new thread. Okay, so I've already gone ahead and threaded my thread onto my needle. So what we're just gonna do is we're gonna take this last strip of cubic right angle weave, or you can take a previous one depending on how far you have worked on it already. So what I'm just gonna do is that I'm just gonna stitch through one of the beads. Oops. And I'm gonna do pretty much the same thing as I did when stitching when we were tying our thread off the beadwork. I'm just gonna go through that whole right angle weave unit, the 4 beads that make up one unit of right angle weave, the whole cubic right angle weave unit. When you do it in a circle like this, the thread gets more secured and you don't have to tie any knots or anything. I personally prefer to work my thread into my beadwork than to do a knot, since I find the knot looking messy. I don't think anyone else really sees the knot, but me as a creator of it, it will always bug me. So you keep working like this till you reach the top, basically. And then we'll be back for our final step of completing this necklace. Okay, so you should now be at a point where you're going to add the 22nd bead, the last bead, and you should have worked your rows like this until you have at least 22 of these cubic right angle weave rows in between the big beads. I've also gone ahead and tied off my thread tail that was in the beginning. I used to work it the same way as I showed you earlier on how to untie the thread and change it. So what we're gonna do is that we add our last bead here. And we're gonna take a hold of where we started, and we are going to go through one of that bead, of those beads in that unit, line it up like this, and then we are gonna go back through that big bead. And when we're back through there, we're gonna go back through the same bead that we came out of before we went through the big bead in the opposite direction, and then we're also gonna go through one more bead in that unit, and then we're just gonna do the same like we did when we add one of those big beads. Go back through that big bead again, and then we're gonna go through the next bead on that opposite side, and then we're gonna go through that big bead again, and I like to go through the next seed bead, or you could go through again immediately after I went through the big bead. So you go through that one on the opposite side of where your thread came, and then you go through one more seed bead in that right angle weave unit. So now we go through that big bead again, you're gonna have to pull tight sometimes just so it lines up, and now we go through the next seed bead on the top there. And then back through that big bead again. And again, we go through that same bead, seed bead, as we went through when we went through the big bead to the top side. And then we go through one more seed bead. And up through the big bead. Then go through that last bead that we haven't went through in that unit. and then you go back through the big bead again. And now it doesn't matter which bead you go through, because now all four of those beads are connected and the work is gonna stay straight. So now you just work your way through it until you feel that the thread is secure, and then you cut it up, and then you have a whole long necklace or a bracelet that you can wrap around your wrist. Thank you for watching this video. If you like my video and would like to see more of my upcoming content, please subscribe, like it, share it, and see you in the next video. Bye bye.